What's up, Threats?
Yeah, so Jesus is God. Yeah, I disagree.
Why do you disagree?
Because Jesus being God would entail that there's some sort of contradiction.
What would make it a contradiction?
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, so we'll just simply lay this out. Do you believe God is a Trinity?
Do I believe God is a Trinity? Yeah.
All right, when you say God is a Trinity, is that is of identity?
Here we go.
Meaning, is he identical to that?
Whoa. He's going to try to say that the word God is Trinity. Therefore, if we say that Jesus is God, then Jesus must be a Trinity at that point. Correct?
Yeah. If you're monotheistic, yes, it should.
You notice how he's using that word, right? Where?
Yeah, God is not.
He's gonna.
So God is not a Trinity. Okay.
Oh my gosh, that's not what I said.
Yeah, bro. What's the reference?
You trying to use that? Yeah.
What's the referent? Okay, so that's what I'm asking you. When you say God is a Trinity, and when you say, well, there's another sense in which God isn't the Trinity, that just sounds like two different references of God. That sounds like two gods to me. It's two different references.
No, that's equivocation fallacy. When you read the scriptures, and Paul is in the Areopagus, and he's talking to the pagans, and on their stone it says, "To the unknown God." Do you think in that particular passage he's referring to the triune God?
To the unknown. I mean, bro, this has nothing to do with, I don't know, I haven't read it. This has nothing to do with...
Can you answer my question?
I don't know, I haven't read it. This has nothing to do with my argument.
I know you haven't read it. That's why I'm asking you the question.
The thing is, though, I'm not making a scriptural argument. I can grant you all throughout the Bible it says Jesus is God, no contradictions in the Bible.
You're making an argument. You're making an argument based on a false premise. And that's why I'm asking you, do you understand how the referent God is being used?
I mean, how do you believe the referent God is being used? Like, just give me your position.
I'm asking you.
I don't. Wait, hold on.
Threats. Pause for a second, man. You're going to come on a Christian panel. You're going to ask us a question that you know we've heard 1,000 times. That means that you would have done your research on what we're going to say.
I've done the research and I haven't found a valid...
So you've done the research and what have you found?
Yeah, and what I found is, well, we can speak of a relative identity view of God, or we can speak of God being used in a sense of where there's this sense of God, right? And I believe that each of those views lead to either absurdity or leads to multiple gods.
Okay, now watch this. Prove it.
Okay, prove it. Okay, yeah. So look, if God is a Trinity, and then we say Jesus is God, right? And well, presumably I would say if God is a Trinity and Jesus is God, my bad. If we say God is a Trinity and Jesus is God, I would expect us to say, well, Jesus is a Trinity if there's one sense of God. But then if there's multiple senses of God, wait one second. But then if there's multiple senses of God where we say, well, God is a Trinity, that's referring to the three persons, and we say Jesus is God, that's just referring to his being. Well, now that sounds like there's two referencing God. And if there's two reference under numerical identity, according to the classical counting method, which is counting by a classical identity, then we count two gods.
Boy, I already had this conversation with you before anyway. Because when you're saying God, you're talking about the what.
That's what I'm saying. That's
and then when you say the persons, you're talking about the persons of God. You're talking about something in two totally different senses, and you're trying to collapse them and try to say they're talking about them in one sense. I know. So you're doing it wrong. It's wrong.
That's why I said you have a faulty premise. That's why I kept asking you, what is the referent?
Okay, look, the point of my critique is, look, I'll grant you that there's multiple senses in God, meaning that...
Okay, well then your argument
fails.
Exactly, then your argument is fried.
It doesn't fail because you're not letting me finish. Because I said if there's multiple senses in God, meaning when we say Jesus is God, that refers to a different thing to then when we say God is a Trinity, that means that there's multiple reference in God, meaning that there is multiple things that refer to God, which is two gods.
Okay, Threats.
No, it's not multiple things because it's one... They're all the same being.
You have
multiple reference by definition.
No, they're all the same being. So you're not talking about different things. You're talking about the same being. You're collapsing, bro. Threats. You're collapsing the persons and natures, just like all Muslims do that don't understand what we're saying. Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not, dude. God.
Okay.
So whenever we referencing God, are we referencing the persons or are we referencing the
Depends
beings?
on, look, okay, when you're representing God,
Are we saying the persons or beings?
You would usually say God is a description of nature.
Are we saying the persons or the beings? Just answer my question.
The beings with an S, so there's multiple beings.
Bro, are we talking about the person or the being of
We're
God?
talking about the being of God.
Okay, thank you. So you know the difference. So you can understand the difference.
Is the being of God triune, or is the being of God Jesus? Or is the two senses in
What?
God?
Hold on a second. Threat. What Christian thinks that? That's bro. Like, this is why we're asking you.
What Christian thinks that God is a Trinity? Oh my goodness.
Hold on.
That's not what he said, bro.
Man, you guys, bro, are like, y'all are like really some type of insane, bro.
No, we're not some type of insane. You just kind of just look at teeth, so you're just saying.
know what we're saying, and you're pretending like you
Okay,
don't.
look, no, listen. I'll just look. You're saying, look, when we say God is a Trinity, that's in a different sense than when we say God. When we say Jesus is God. When we say Jesus is God, we're referring to his being. When we say God is a Trinity, we're referring to the being alongside the three persons. But I'm telling you, if there's different references,
The being alongside the three
Not
persons.
alongside.
No, that ain't what we say.
okay, then what do you say?
So do you think it's a being alongside, besides the
My
three
God.
persons?
Hold on, wait, word. Threats. This is why I kept asking you introductory questions, and you haven't been able to substantiate that you actually know what you're lying.
This isn't a scriptural argument.
Threats, stop.
This isn't a scriptural argument.
Threats, stop. Because now you're lying.
No,
When I first talked to you, I asked you, hey, what is the referent? And I'm going to ask you again. All of this can be easily
what is the
solved by
referent?
telling me, stop, listen, so you can know how to respond. This is why I keep asking you this. If you answer this question, then your argument is cooked. When Christians refer to God opposed to pagans, what is the referent for the Christians?
Okay, what view of Trinitarianism do you hold to? And then I'll tell you. Because some people say
And I was just getting ready to kick him, bro. I was just getting ready to kick. Yo, Threats, can you answer my question?
okay,
My finger is literally over. My finger is literally over the kick button.
The Trinity.
The Trinity. Okay, explain that to us.
Explain what the Trinity is.
Yes.
Yeah, the Trinity would just be the belief that there's supposedly one God in three persons, and these persons are distinct.
Okay. So whenever a Christian says Jesus is God, is he referring to the triune nature of God?
Wait, so God's nature is triune, just to be clear.
When Christians say Jesus is God, are they referring to the triune nature of God?
You would be referring to the essence,
Which is what?
which is the divine nature, which has the set of essential properties.
Which is what?
The being, bro. Just say the being.
Like, okay, yeah, it's the being, whatever.
Thank you. So the triune nature of God, correct?
Okay, sure, okay, yeah. Fine.
Okay, hold on, pause. Thank you. When Christians say, I believe in God, what are they referring to?
They believe in one being who is God.
Thank you.
Okay,
So now your argument is baked.
No, it's not
because
baked,
what? Stop. Because whether you're referring to Jesus, the Father, or the Spirit, you're still referring to the triune nature of God. Just like if a Christian says, I believe in God, it's the same thing. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to falsely equivocate Jesus being a separate being from the Father and the Son. And you know we don't believe that.
Okay, so
And you have to substantiate how that's the case.
yeah, I'll substantiate that. So can I speak, please?
Please.
All right. Yeah. So look, this was my critique first and foremost. So here, actually, I'll just almost said you said the triune nature of God. Okay. So when we say, for example, Jesus is omnipotent, we're saying Jesus' divine nature is omnipotent. Okay. So this is what you said. So don't say I'm strawmanning. You said the triune nature of God. Does Jesus have the triune nature of God? Okay. So we can say Jesus is triune because just how we can say Jesus.
Bro, that is stupid. No.
Nature, we can say he just said triune nature.
Bro.
Yeah, bro, get out of here, bro. You see?
So what it is, so the thing is, he understands that we predicate the essence to each person. We're not saying that each person have their own divine essence, bro. The nature is predicated to each person because the Father communicates his essence to the Son and the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
It still makes it one God, one being.
That's why whenever these guys come up, I make them define whatever it is that they say they think about us. Because I'm not going to sit here and chase you guys around the chessboard and try to make you. I'm not doing that, bro. If you're going to come on a panel full of Christians, you need to substantiate that you've actually done at least a little bit of research about what we believe, and then present it to us, and then defend and then argue against it. But I'm asking you simple questions like, when Christians refer to God, what is the referent? When Christians refer to Jesus, what is the referent? And you can't even answer a simple question like that. Then he finally stopped being dumb on purpose and he answered it correctly. And then everybody realized his argument was cooked and that he was falsely equivocating. Like, bro, like, get out of here, bro. Like, we're not going to sit here and chase you guys. We're not doing that.